Hi folks, here we have a Sanyo turntable from, I believe, 1981, and this is as found. Don't know what we're going to get into today with it, but either it'll work or it won't. It probably won't without a belt and a few things, but that's nothing we can't handle and do. There we go, let's fix this dust cover. Come on, baby. Come on, come on. You get one down and the other one. Come on, come on. There we go. Fix that dust cover. Now, there's the 45 RPM adapter, and unfortunately there's foam on it, so what do we do with that? Well, we get rid of it. It's really rubble, but it's hard to scrape it out. Well, that's gonna have to be cleaned. Then we'll put that on a record. Well, it's actually never had foam rubble do that before. Okay, I'll take care of that and all good time. Okay. Now you should never, as this thing's been transported, let's spin it. If a turntable spins that freely, you know what that, folks, means. Bad belt. Nothing else but a bad belt. Take off this rubber platter. And what do we have here? A snap wing. My favorite. By the way, if you see a snap wing on something, get a pair of snap wing pliers, because you might not get it back on. When you have a pair of needle-nose pliers like this, it works. I might hopefully have an E-clip I can put on instead of that, because that's just annoying. I don't like snap wings, especially on record players, because it makes it so people can't work on them. Come on, plier. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Ah, got lucky. She hadn't turned to tie. But boy, she stretched. Yeah. Well, I don't think I have a belt for this, but let's just see if we can get some parts for this. But before we do it, let's plug it in and make sure the motor at least runs. Because there's no point in buying parts for something with a bad motor. So, plug it in. Apparently it runs. That's because it was still in the middle of the changing cycle. Motor works. Switch still is engaged, so I don't know why that is. But I believe we can probably get that fixed. Hopefully. If not, I only have one thing to say. It would be sold as a broken record player. Actually put the platter on it and see if I'm doing it like this. Nope. For some reason the switch is still being engaged to run the motor. Well, that's kind of annoying. And I think this platter mat's had it. It's cracking. Yeah, that's seen better days. Never had one do this before. But a platter mat's just a platter mat. Talk about, I've never seen a platter mat do that, so That platter mat's gone. I have to figure out why that won't turn off the motor. It's some kind of switch. Probably gummed up with bad grease. That's a very good possibility because it's got grease, so but there's no point doing anything until we actually can have the pulse for it. So let's go over to the computer, shall we? Alright, here's the place I go to get parts from. Mainly when it comes to belts and needles and cartridges, stuff for record players, and as the name implies, they also do have belts and stuff for cassette decks, 8-track players, and stuff of that nature. And you should buy belts from them, especially because they're high quality. And those assortment packs. Because those assortment packs, if you look at them closely, look kind of blotchy and, well, will cause you'd have speed instability issues, and nobody wants that when they're playing back their music. So, do yourself a favor, get good quality belts, and this is the best place I know to get them, and I believe they also, I believe they're also made in America too, if that's something you care about. But another thing, I also forgot, one of the reasons I use this place is if you have any problems, they have really good customer service and they will make it right. So I always like giving them the business if I can. But let's see what we got for parts for this baby. So get my player. Go down and let's find Sanyo. This could take a second. Sanyo, I saw it. It's falling out in front of me. Sanyo Fisher. There we go. Now, TP-X1. So let's find TP-X1. Come on. I probably won't have it. That's just always my luck. Okay, TP-X1. There we go. Holy! Ouch! Ooh! It's a lot of money for a needle. A lot of money. We're gonna need that. And we'll need a belt. So I had a belt. I'm not going to make much money off of this. But I normally do this for the fun, and hopefully that's why I'll have to make sure I have to start a Patreon, because we do need a rubber mat. I like how the prices are actually cheaper than it actually shows on the website. And for a needle, we have an original Sanyo. Ouch. Can it not just be a generic replacement? This is a lot of money. It's almost cheaper just to find cartridge, but I'm not gonna do that. This is only a 2-speed, so we don't need it. Let me actually just look and see what that says. Audio Technica AT cartridge. Set to a stock. I don't know. I need to look at that closely. Well, folks, I ended up finding a replacement stylus for a lot cheaper. And that one was an ATM 3400 type stylus for an AT34 cartridge. But the one I bought was a Bliss, because it was $23 instead of $29. And the Bliss one is red and looks identical to the one that was on the Sanyo, so I expect that's what the Sanyo originally came with, or not. I'm not 100% sure. I did end up getting the belt that we needed, the 25-inch one. I did not get the platter mount because Doofus here forgot to order it. Because he just forgot. I don't know any other excuse to give myself. And also, these two are just for that boombox in the previous video, the Seiko one. And which that boombox is still working great, but we're not here to talk about the boombox, we're here to talk about the record player, so let's get back to the show. Well, folks, before I actually want to spend the money, I want to find out why that motor isn't turning off when it's in the rest position. Because if it is not turning off, I don't want to spend all that money and find out it's a fault I can't fix. So let's open up the bottom of it and see why. It's probably just grease, but I prefer not to take a chance. And this one looks completely bad. They're just trying to sell it for what I paid for it. Here we go. Okay. Something. I gotta figure how this works, folks. It's very simple. I probably will just for preventive maintenance. Probably should do it. We'll change that capacitor. Just because it is 40 years old and that's a very cheap part. I don't want it coming back on me. Surprising that foam's still good. Grease needs to be re-greased, but so how does this work? You know, this is really peculiar to me. It really is. But I don't see anything that looks to be broken per se, but there's nothing rattling around inside. There's no needle in this thing, and it's upside down, so we're not gonna hurt nothing. Where's that strap? This has to be loosened up so I can see how this works. I think I see the problem here. Is this thing supposed to be on this side? There's a clutch. I think I need to get a screwdriver and see why. But yeah, let me see where the switches go. Yeah, that's from the turntable. This is all motor switch. That felt really loose. I think someone's been monkeying in this thing in the past. Probably because the turntable didn't spin and it was a bad belt, and they were messing with things they weren't supposed to. But something tells me that this. Maybe it's supposed to be like that. Okay, so maybe it is, but maybe it's supposed to be like. Yeah, I don't understand why this isn't working. It's not sticky grease. I think there's just junky plastic. And if this doesn't work, I'm not going to really make $100 off of it, so I'll end up just selling it. Trying to sell it as is. So that's how it's supposed to work. I think that's. I see the problem here. Found out. Okay. If that's the case, I need to put some Loctite on it. That's correct. I said we fixed it. Okay. Hi, everyone. Let's change this capacitor now. I can get on my chair and not fall off of it. I can do it. That'd be bad. It's that one right there. I think, like I said, I've already re-greased it and everything. Might have to put some more grease on it, but I won't put too much because as you run it, it will go through it. But probably will have to. But anywho, it does work now. So let's change this cap, and that will be all we have to do under this baby. So. Put this in the capacitor tester. Need to get an LCR meter one day, but I have an in-circuit tester, but it doesn't tell you the capacity and everything. This one does. This one's about had it. Testing, testing, testing. Come on, test, test, test. I don't know if that is terrible. I don't think so, but let's see what a new one is. I mean, this cap could have been left in, but the only reason, if it was mine, I wouldn't change it. But if you're gonna sell it to someone else, you don't want to sell them something that you didn't do the whole job on. Now here's a new 1000 at 16 volt. Let's see what this one tests. Woofer guys out there today doing the roof on the building. So if you hear people talking, that's them. Yeah, the old one in terms of ESR and capacity was just perfect. I mean, it's not a bad cap. However, this is 40 years old, just about. That's brand new, and as I told you, I don't want to sell something to someone with a bad cap because they can't fix it themselves, and this thing would get thrown away over a part that cost maybe it was bought in a big bulk. So I think this was like 10 cents. It's just not worth it not to. This is not a bad cap, and for my personal use, I'll keep it. But I'm not gonna, not in anything I'm gonna sell to anyone. Alright, folks. I believe, hopefully, the cap doesn't blow up when I put it back together because I put it in the way. Yeah, I put it in the negative way, but you never know. It might be wrong. I normally try to mark it, but I kind of got sidetracked talking. Oh, look. Makeshift shielding. Let's put this back on. And with the screws, and I'll do that off camera, and when we come back, I should have all the parts so we can finish this thing and give it a test. Well, folks, between that last video clip and the one you're about to see, I had to take the turntable back apart again and fix the screw post because I was wrong in thinking I had it fixed and I JB welded it. And this is also where I have all the belts and parts, and I'll get it all complete and done. Well, folks, process of putting back together the Sanyo turntable, and unfortunately, that screw post broke, and I had to get some JB weld, because the screw is a set screw, which then locks against this metal ring, so I just put some JB weld and glued the metal ring and the screw all to the piece of plastic after aligning it. Hopefully, that works. Now I have to put it all back together with the belt and everything. Unfortunately, I'd love to show that on camera, but if you notice, this platter has no holes in it to reach your finger around, and it also does not have a hook. So you have to hold your hand there and bend down, and it took me 20 minutes the first time to do it. So I'll come back once I got the turntable on and the belt installed. I also have to clean the belt because it got in the grease, so get it all nice and cleaned up again and put it all back together, and hopefully this thing will work when I'm done. Well, we got the belt on, but now it's time to put the needle on and adjust the tracking force. Needle installed. I'll have to go look and see what the recommended rating is on this. 2 to 3 grams. I don't know if you can see that, but that's higher than 2 and 3 grams, so. Two grams. Okay. So, that's how you do that. Now, I just gotta put the bottom, well, that stupid clip on that platter was not all that good. So, putting the screws back on it might be harder than said and done, because that snap ring, after taking it off, I guess it got bent, even though I used snap ring pliers. It's just poor quality. I'd use an E-clip on it, but I don't have any that will fit. So, it is what it is. So, I'm going to get the bottom covered screw back on, and we'll take this to the turntable, to my stereo system, and we'll test it, and then that'll be all for the video. In terms of cleaning, that'll just be done off camera. Here it is, temporarily connected to the stereo system. Which, and as you can tell, I'm not swapping out that turntable with that one, because this is an old Kenwood. And it was only $10 more than that one. I paid $10 for that one. This one was $20. And I had to repair it basically the same way. Very nice turntable. What the heck was that? That's a good way to ruin your record. Now, isn't it? Looks like the auto return does not work. Don't know why. Try it by hand. Okay, it does work. It just, I started the record too far in and it didn't have enough momentum because I started it like right at the end. So it does work. So a fully restored turntable. Auto reject works. The queuing works, everything on it works. It seems to play right on speed. Pretty good. Of course, I'm not going to keep it because why would you keep the Sanyo? Why would you keep the Sanyo when you have a Kenwood like that one? Not going to happen. Well, let's go on one of the... Alright, time to put this thing away and... I'm gonna put this thing back away and, okay. Alright. Time to put this record player back in the workshop and list it for sale on eBay, because I ain't keeping this one. Hopefully, I'll get a little bit of money out of it. Not a lot, but at least some, and I saved a unit. Well, that's all, folks.